This is where MAGA comes to talk. And man, do we have a lot to talk about today. I mean, there's just so many stories that are going on. And I'm going to cover them all. And we will be taking your calls as well. Yeah, it's the weekend of people disappointing us, that's for sure. Although we had a lot of great news over the weekend, there's some bad things we've got to cover as well. I mean, this is just such a massive betrayal. And we will be taking your calls. Mm-hmm. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Wait a second, where is that? There we go. All right. I'm still setting up, guys. Who's betrayed Trump the most? Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, or Elon Musk? Now, Bongino, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi are one. So those three or Elon. Who's betrayed Trump the most? Mm-hmm. It's bad. No getting around it. It's bad. All right, we'll be live soon. I'm just waiting for Mike at the radio station to let me know what time we're coming on, but about 8 or 9 minutes, we'll be live on the air. Mm-hmm. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Oh, boy. Mm-hmm. Just going over some articles. That I'm going to cover when we go live shortly. Great MAGA morning indeed. Okay, here we go. What time? Okay. Okay, we'll be live in 7 minutes. Well, 6.5 minutes we'll be live. All right. Oh, I've got a lot to cover today. We're here till 9, so I'll be covering pretty much everything that you guys have mentioned. And what I don't get to, I'll get to my podcast later in the day. Welcome, new subscribers. Welcome to CC777. Welcome, new subscriber, just subscribed. If you're new to the channel, this is where MAGA comes to talk. We'll be live in less than 4 minutes. Mm-hmm. 2 minutes and we'll be live. 2 minutes. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take some calls in a bit. 90 seconds, a little less than that, we'll be live. Now, if you're new to the program, I broadcast on a bunch of radio stations and also live stream on YouTube and on other platforms while I'm on the air. So the calls you hear, some are from YouTube, some are from other streaming places, some are from the radio. If you're watching with the green background, you can hear me and the callers fine, but the audio sound bites I play, you have to go to my other stream, which I'm going to start in about 30 seconds, to hear those and see the articles I go over. To get the benefits of the green screen effect, you'll have to go to my other stream, which I'll be starting shortly. But on this one with the green background, you'll hear me and the callers fine. If you're on hold, hang in there. I need a haircut because I had to adjust my hat and my headphones. That's how I know I need a haircut. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We've got so much to cover. We are back here live after the 4th of July weekend. Welcome, one and all. And a lot has happened. There's been some big news with Pam Bondi, Kash Patel Dan Bongino, which I'm going to get to later in the hour. There's a lot of good news too, but I'm going to start with the bad stuff because it has to be discussed. And I'm going to start with Elon Musk and his betrayal of President Trump by announcing he's starting a third party. And I'm leading with this story because it broke over the weekend, and most of you were probably on 4th of July, 3-day weekend Party Central, right? It was, that's what it has, that's what it is for most people. I get that, so we've got to cover this. But the President of the United States, Donald Trump, for the very first time, has commented in incredible detail about what Elon Musk has done. But first, let's talk about what he's done. Elon Musk, when he left the White House, is scheduled. They have this process, this procedure, this technicality where you can become a government employee working for the president without any type of agency interference or congressional approval for a certain period of time. And before Elon Musk even started working for President Trump, his end date was announced because of this special employment status. And he left on time. And since he left the White House, he's gone completely nuts. Elon Musk. The first were those weird tweets, which we talked about when they happened. And then over the weekend, he announced that he's starting his America Party, which is a third party to unseat MAGA because of the big, beautiful bill, which was signed into law on the 4th of July by the president. And this is crazy, okay? And I did a lot of coverage of this over the weekend online, those of you who follow me on my podcast and on YouTube over the weekend. But what Elon Musk has done is so self-destructive and destructive to this country, on top of the fact that it's a complete betrayal of President Trump, who brought him on the inside and gave him access, power, and control that no one other than a president has ever had, not even the first ladies. He was more influential than even Hillary Clinton during the Clinton years. And this betrayal just makes me physically ill. And I am going to talk about this. Now, a lot of people are comparing him to Ross Perot. And just to recap Ross Perot and tell you what happened with Ross Perot, it's important for you to know this because of what Elon is doing. Ross Perot came in as a third-party candidate during the 1992 presidential campaign with President H.W. Bush and Governor Clinton. And he split the Republican vote. I can't remember, he got 16 or 18% of the vote nationwide. And Bill Clinton, because Ross Perot split the conservative vote, Bill Clinton won in 1992 with only 43% of the vote. Think about that. With just 43% of the vote, Bill Clinton became president in 1992. And H.W. Bush was so popular, people forget. Okay, people forget. It's been a long time, I get it. But a year before that election, the Gulf War ended, the 1991 Gulf War. At the end of the Gulf War, H.W. Bush had the highest approval rating that any president has ever had, to my knowledge. Get this. This is crazy. I remember this at the time, people talking about it. This was a huge story. George H.W. Bush, at the end of the Gulf War, had a 91% approval rating. 91% approval rating. Right? Record-breaking. And a year later, he lost the presidency to Bill Clinton receiving 43% of the vote because Ross Perot split the conservative vote. And that is what Elon Musk is looking to do here, for whatever reason. But if Elon continues on the path that he's pushing towards with this third party, as we approach the midterms, we will lose. And the reason we'll lose is because Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, the richest man who's ever lived, the second richest person in the world. Elon Musk has twice the money they have. So he has unlimited resources to fund congressional candidates, to split the Republican vote. And when we get into the presidential election next time, he has enough financial resources to get a candidate on the ballot. And you know what? You don't have to have them on the ballot in all 50 states. You just need them on the ballot in battleground states. And he has the money to make that happen. And, you know, a lot of people that are conservatives would vote for a third-party conservative candidate over the big, beautiful bill. Mostly the libertarians. And libertarians are self-centered, narcissistic lunatics who think they're better conservatives than everyone else. They never compromise. And they'll vote for a losing candidate and say, well, I stood on my principles. And then they'll put a Democrat in the White House or give Democrats control of both houses in the midterms. They'll proudly do it. So this party will have voters from both the libertarian wing of the Republican Party and, of course, the never-Trumper wing. And they will cost us control of the Congress and cost us the White House in the next presidential election if Elon continues down this path. And I wonder why he's doing this third party. Is it ego because he misses being in the Oval Office? And remember, the cabinet members were answering and reporting to Elon. Is that what he wants back? Or is it because his EV mandates have been taken out by the big, beautiful bill that he's been promised by never-Trumpers and the Democrats that the EV mandates will be in? You know, Elon Musk, he's the richest man in the world. His two major companies are Tesla and SpaceX. Both Tesla and SpaceX are businesses that have been a success and are profitable because of the government contracts and deals they get from the government. Elon Musk may be the richest man in the world, but in many ways, he's almost like a welfare recipient in a way, because SpaceX would be nothing without government contracts. EVs, electric vehicles, wouldn't, especially now, are not viable as a mainstream auto manufacturer without government breaks when you purchase them, and other government set-asides that they give to EVs. So it's very possible that he's been threatened with losing government contracts or told he'll get the EV subsidies back and all of this. And that's why he's doing it. Why he's doing it, we may never know, but we do know how destructive it will be. You know, this great MAGA movement, we are getting our country back from terrible people, beyond just the Biden autopen presidency. We're getting our country back from the permanent Washington class that has kept the American people in bondage without us even realizing it our entire lives. The freedom that we've had in this country has been an illusion. And the big, beautiful bill may not have everything you want in it, but it has most everything, doesn't it? No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Many of the tax cuts that President Trump passed in his first term have been made permanent, which is highly unusual in the tax cutting legislation that comes through. So a huge chunk of those have been made permanent. I don't have to go through all the benefits of the big, beautiful bill. Yeah, they had to make compromises. You've got 535 members of Congress. Yes, you got to make deals. So the president, for the first time, has responded to Elon Musk. After the first break, I'm going to get into that. And then I'm going to get into what Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino have done after we finish that up. And take your calls on all of this at 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I want to remind you guys, Saturday the 19th, that's a week from Saturday, come meet me on Saturday the 19th at Attorney Barry Siegel's office in Boca from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. for his Medicaid seminar. This is completely free, but Attorney Barry Siegel is asking that you call his office, let them know you're coming. There is limited space for this because it's in his office, but they need to know how many people are coming. So I'm going to give you the number. This is Saturday the 19th, which is a week from this coming Saturday at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. in Boca. Come meet me, Brian Craig. I'll be there with Attorney Barry Siegel and his staff at his Medicaid workshop. Here's the number to call the Siegel Law Group, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782. And online, siegellawgroup.com. I'll see you on the 19th. Call us on hold. You stand by. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Boy, oh boy, I tell you, it is a pretty upsetting day, isn't it? It really truly is. Now, I want to tell you guys this incredible deal on the free with God, all things are possible, multi-use MyPillow 2.0. There's a link to my MyPillow page in the description of the video, but it's mypillow.com/Kane, mypillow.com/Kane, Kane. You get a free with God, all things are possible, multi-use MyPillow 2.0 with any purchase with our promo code Kane. This is a $39.98 value. You can see it there. It's an exclusive special, and it's with any purchase. And I actually got one today. I bought some kitchen washcloths, and with the kitchen washcloths, which are as low as $9.99, you get the free $39.98 with God, all things are possible, MyPillow 2.0. So you get that pillow for free with any purchase with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. So go to mypillow.com/Kane. That's mypillow.com/Kane, Kane, and get your free with God, all things are possible, multi-use MyPillow 2.0 with the temperature regulating technology, perfect for the summer. Free with any purchase, a $39.98 value. Isn't that something? What a deal. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to go through the president's comments on Elon when we get back, and then I'll get to, after the bottom of the hour break, I'll get into the Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino betrayal, because it has got to be discussed. It just has to be. You know, there's just no getting around it. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Yeah. If you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe, okay? This is a radio station commercial break we are in. Less than 90 seconds, we'll be back. A little more than a minute. And those of you that are regular watchers of mine, I started this over the weekend. I was waiting for a holiday weekend to start this, but I've reformatted my podcast, the Brian Craig Show podcast. It's still available on all podcast platforms, but I'm doing the podcast live on YouTube, like I'm live now, and taking live calls on my podcast. I did 2 episodes over the weekend of that. So make sure you subscribe, click the notification bell, and you'll get a notification when I go live on my afternoon podcast. And remember, if you're a Patreon supporter, you get access to commercial-free editions to all of my podcast episodes. Yeah, we'll be back in 30 seconds. All right, welcome back, one and all. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. So, talking about the betrayal of Elon Musk. Now, there was a story over the weekend that was false, that Elon Musk had filed with the Federal Elections Committee, founding the new party. That is not true. Elon has debunked that, but he has still vowed to form his this third political party, which would end up in the defeat of our great MAGA candidates as we're coming into the midterm. I mean, this is really a disaster. And what Elon Musk has done here is it's self-destructive in that when he came out and did the right thing after the Never Trumpers did what they did to President Trump and Butler and endorsed President Trump, okay, he alienated all the liberals that have been buying Teslas, right? Right? But he gained a lot of new friends in the conservative MAGA movement. And now he's alienated us. So he's alienated over 90% of the country. Boom, just like that. I mean, that's very, very self-destructive what he's done here. And it really ticks me off. Now, even if he comes to his senses and becomes friends with President Trump again, he's already established the idea of this America's party. So these never-Trumpers in the deep state and the Bush Republicans and all, and the Democrats are going to take control of it and keep it going, even if he walks away from it. He's really opened up terrible things here. And for the first time, President Trump, he's commented in great detail about this in a Truth Social post, which is pretty detailed. I'm going to go through this now. It's very long, but it is the words of our president. I want to share this because this is the first time in detail that he's responded to what Elon is doing here. All right, this is President Trump on Truth over the weekend. I am saddened to watch Elon Musk go completely off the rails, essentially becoming a train wreck over the past 5 weeks. He even wants to start a third political party, despite the fact that they have never succeeded in the United States. In fact, you know, the third party, they were trying to get Trump to start a third party after he left his first term, right? The MAGA party. And he says, no, I'm just going to take back the Republican Party. They thought they could con him into starting a third party, knowing it would be a losing proposition. Teddy Roosevelt was president. He finished out McKinley's term, then got elected to his own and retired and decided he wanted to run again. And he formed a third party, the Bull Moose Party. And even as popular as Teddy Roosevelt was, he couldn't win in a third party, even then. All right, back to this. Despite that, this is President Trump's post about Elon to Truth Social. He even wants to start a third political party, despite the fact that they have never succeeded in the United States. The system seems not designed for them. The one thing third parties are good for is the creation of complete and total disruption and chaos. And we have enough of that with the radical left Democrats, who have lost their confidence and their minds. Republicans, on the other hand, are a smooth running machine that just passed the biggest bill of its kind in the history of our country. It is a great bill, but unfortunately for Elon, it eliminates the ridiculous electric vehicle EV mandate, which would have forced everyone to buy an electric car in a short period of time. I have been strongly opposed to that from the very beginning. People are now allowed to buy whatever they want. Gasoline-powered, hybrids, which are doing very well, are new technologies that they come about. No more EV mandate. Now, if you remember, in California, they were banning the sale of new gasoline-powered vehicles in just a couple of years. That's all gone now. Back to President Trump, he says, I have campaigned on this for 2 years, and quite honestly, when Elon gave me his total and unquestioned endorsement, I asked him whether or not he knew that I was going to terminate the EV mandate. It was in every speech I made and in every conversation I had. He said he had no problems with that. I was very surprised. Additionally, Elon asked that one of his close friends run NASA. And while I thought his friend was very good, I was surprised to learn that he was a blue-blooded Democrat who had never contributed to a Republican before. Elon probably was also. I also thought it inappropriate that a very close friend of Elon, who was in the space business, run NASA when NASA is such a big part of Elon's corporate life. My number one charge is to protect the American public. Okay, that's the president's comment on this. He's called Elon Musk a train wreck. This is complete and utter sabotage of a great movement. Now, the problem goes beyond Elon because there are so many Republican libertarians that would vote for this third party. So we really have to call this out. I don't know if President Trump is able to fix this or not. Elon Musk is so out of control with everything that he's been doing that I don't know if he can be corralled back in, especially if he's been approached by the Democrats and the Republican establishment that the mandates will be back if he does this. And remember, the other thing about Ross Perot was a deep state plant. And I know a lot of people say, well, H.W. Bush was deep state. This is true, but he did something that ticked them off. What that is exactly, I don't know. It very well could have been that he didn't take Baghdad in the Gulf War and stop the Army and the Marines from taking Baghdad in the Gulf War. It could be that. Very well could be that. Could be something else. We don't know. But the deep state turned against him. And Ross Perot and his running mate, Admiral Stockdale, were deep state. And the deep state put Ross Perot in to stop Bush from getting reelected and put Clinton in office. And look at what a disaster that was. Look at where this world went because Bill Clinton won. You know, our values, not just because of his affairs. Remember, the don't ask, don't tell that he put in the policy, although he ran on saying gays would openly serve, he walked it back and started the don't ask, don't tell policy. Bill Clinton's don't ask, don't tell policy is what led to the lunacy of the last Otto Penn administration to have these trans generals and admirals and lieutenant colonels and everything else in our services, okay? That was the beginning that led to that. And, you know, and that is that. So we've got to get control of this. If you're on hold, hang in there. After the bottom of the hour break, I'm going to get into Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi and what they have done, which is such a massive betrayal. And we'll be taking your calls on all of this. Now, I want to tell you guys, this incredible deal at MyPillow with our promo code Kane continues. Free with any purchase with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. You'll receive a With God, All Things Are Possible multi-use MyPillow 2.0. And that's a $39.98 value. And when I say any purchase, I got one today. I went to the website with our promo code Kane and got some kitchen washcloths, which you can get as low as $9.99. And even with such a small purchase, got the free My Pillow with God All Things Are Possible multi-use My Pillow 2.0. Go to mypillow.com/Kane, Kane. That's mypillow.com/Kane, and you'll see this exclusive special there that only we here and one other person in the whole wide world have this free with God All Things Are Possible pillow. It is beautiful. That's mypillow.com/Kane, mypillow.com/Kane, and you can get your, with any purchase with our promo code Kane, your free with God Anything Is Possible My Pillow. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. We'll be right back. I'm just reading over some articles. Welcome, everyone. If you are new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll take a call or two, and then I'll get into the Pam Bondi stuff, which is bad, very bad. Yeah, if you want to call in, the number is pinned in the chat. 888-465-2631. Toll free no matter where you are watching. We'll be back in just over a minute. Less than a minute. By the way, the direct link to my MyPillow page for that deal is in the description of the video. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, talking about the great betrayal of Elon Musk against President Trump. And coming up in a few minutes, I'll take a call or two, a few calls, and then I'll get into this Kash Patel Dan Bongino Pam Bondi disaster that has just dropped. We're going to get into all of that on the program. All right, let's take some calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, once, twice.
Hi, Craig.
Yeah, all right, you just made it. What's on your mind? Turn down the volume of whatever device you're listening to me on in the background. There's a delay, so you got to listen on the phone, not with whatever you're listening to.
Okay.
All right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, my patients are running thin. I mean, come on.
Okay, so.
Do me a favor.
I'm about to come.
Do me first dump of the day. First dump of the day, Mike. There we go. First dump of the day. If you're on hold, stand by as, we let the delay re-engage. Oh my goodness, I tell you. Yeah, no, this is the left. This is what you got to. This is what you got to deal with. All right, those of you on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll free, by the way, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Our mission will never be interrupted, no matter what we have to deal with on the phones. But I will tell you this about this third party with Elon Musk. Because of his unlimited wealth and the Bush Republicans are still out there, okay, this is a problem. It is a problem, and it's one that they're going to exploit. They're always looking for an angle against President Trump, and this Elon Musk third party is a new angle, and believe me, they're going to use it. All right, delay is re-engaged. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning.
Hey, Richie.
Good morning, Brian. It's Richie.
Hey, Richie.
What we're watching is a terrible thing, but I'm gonna tell you how I see it. I mean, this just makes it show that President Trump has had to deal with politicians since he's left his business, and to deal with politicians is dealing with total sharp, backstabbing people all throughout. And I don't blame President Trump for this. I don't blame Musk for this. Because Elon Musk, when he took that position at Doge, okay, he said he's doing it because the country is going to go broke, and if we go broke, nobody has a country and nobody has a business. Mm-hmm. Now, to try to compromise, President Trump has tried to compromise with this Congress that we have, over 500 people, that and the Democrats were going to go against us anyway. But he took this position at Doge to make cuts to save this country. And President Trump tried to negotiate and get this bill passed, even though 95% of these cuts aren't there and we are in deep financial trouble. So he's actually striking out. He should be striking out at this Congress, which he is, because that's why he's going to primary them. Brian, I'm sorry. President Trump tried to compromise this deal.
Yeah, well, listen, when you are in a situation like the president is, you're not a dictator, okay? You've got to make compromises to get things done. That's how life works. That's how business works. That's how passing bills into law. You know, as an example, you know, but he got a lot of what he wanted, like his tax cuts from his first. Well, we got almost everything we wanted, with a couple of things that he compromised on. But, you know, that's the way it is. And what Elon Musk is doing...
The cuts are not there. Hold on. The cuts are not there, Brian. The cuts that needed to be made, the hard-nosed cuts that President Trump...
Oh, Richie, you know, I don't know if you like to play devil's advocate or if you're for real. First of all...
I'm not.
Okay. Now, first of all, excuse me. First of all, this. The tax cuts from his first term that were set to expire Most of them have been made permanent in this bill. He got the no tax on overtime and tips in there. Okay, they were not legislatively allowed to eliminate taxes on Social Security. So what he did was very clever. Is they gave a huge tax deduction to those that are receiving Social Security, which will probably be a greater benefit to them than having no taxes in many instances. Okay, now so far as the Doge cuts, this is not the last legislation that Trump is going to pass through. This is just the first.
Well,
I'm sorry that he didn't get the whole MAGA agenda and drain the swamp again. But the reality is this, Richie. No matter what Trump did, you would call me whining that it was a failure because you're always moaning and groaning. You're a curmudgeon.
I'm not saying that Trump's a failure. You didn't hear what I said to you. It's not Trump and it's not Musk. Musk did this to save the country, and President Trump has tried to compromise. Musk is not in the mood to
But
compromise.
part of the because when you're the richest man in the world, you're like a king. You get your way. He doesn't understand. As opposed to primarying these people out, we need more Republicans in. If we had larger majorities, we would be able to get more done. I mean, we had to go to tiebreakers in the Senate with J.D. Vance.
Question. I agree with you, Brian. You think I'm playing devil's advocate, but you said we have to get more Republicans in. You think Elon Musk feels that the Republicans that are in there now, with the way they spent money in their little pet peeves? I'm not talking about the cuts now, because President Trump has delivered. You see, that's where I'm not trying to. But these politicians kept their little goodies in there, and
that you're not going to change that. You're not going to change that.
He wanted to.
Well, we all want to do a lot of things, okay? But the government, you can't get everything you want when you're getting these things through, and these earmarks that you're talking about, which are disgusting. Sadly, that's just the way it is. There's no way around that.
Yeah, that's why we're in financial trouble, because exactly that reason, and that's why he thought that they were going to make these cuts. I'm not saying that President Trump's wrong here. You're dealing with a bunch of sharks.
Yes.
The whole Congress is sharks.
So you've got to compromise, and to make things better, we want a larger majority in the midterms, not a smaller majority, which you would do through primarying.
But I don't think that. Listen to me. I don't think that Musk gives a darn about the mandates, because he knew, and I believe President Trump told him. He's got all these employees, and he's got a company that's on the verge of going down the toilet. And
yep.
And he risked everything. They firebombed everybody. They were trying to kill people.
Yeah, we know.
And he feels that. But he feels at the end of the day, they didn't fulfill not even a quarter of all the work that he did.
This is the first of many bills that Trump is going to sign. And we've got 3.5 years to go, and that you got to compromise on each one of them. No, President Trump. No,
if he doesn't get it passed.
No, if Elon has his way, after the midterms, we're going to lose both houses. You know that.
I agree with that.
And Elon is helping the Democrats right now.
I agree with that too, and I don't think it's right. I'm not saying I'm devil's advocate. I'm telling you why he did it. That the Republicans.
Well, he's stupid. What he did. I mean, it's hard to call somebody so successful, the richest man that's ever lived, and all that stupid. But this is a stupid move.
Yeah, he's playing Monopoly with everybody else. And he's in control of the Monopoly board.
Yeah, he's not thinking rationally. He's thinking like a crazed person.
Well, he's got that Asperger's. He is a little bit on the edge there,
Yeah.
I mean,
these uber rich people, they're very eccentric weirdos. Look at Bezos from Amazon, right? And his wife. I mean, he's a weirdo.
You do know that a lot of these politicians are going to use Musk now. Exactly what you said. They're going to use him. They used him the first time because I think they sat there saying, "We're not going to cut this. We're not going to cut that." But President Trump thought they would.
But even if he walks this back, the never Trumpers, right? The Bush Republicans are going to come in and use this and get a candidate on the ballot. All right, Richie, take care. I appreciate the call. Well, let me take another call or two. What the heck? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Rodden from San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego, what's on your mind?
Well, first of all, man, I just want to say how ridiculous that shirt is that you're wearing. That is the fucking saddest.
All right,
shirt
there we
ever.
go. Second dump of the day. No profanity, people. Second dump of the day. Oh, my goodness. But, it does give me an opportunity to talk about Dr. Philip Appleton. Here we are, first day back. 2 dumps, 3 calls, 2 dumps so far this morning. We may hit a record this week on the number of dumps on the program. The laser wave pain treatment with Dr. Appleton, you've heard me talk about, it was 3 years ago this month that Dr. Appleton rid me of pain for the first time in my knee. And I had suffered with that knee pain for years and years and years. And I finally realized what caused that knee pain that I was suffering from for over 20 years that Dr. Appleton rid me of the first time he treated me with a laser wave pain treatment. I couldn't remember. I didn't really know why I had this knee pain. It had been so long. And then when Dr. Appleton was telling me that the laser wave pain treatment works on injuries from car accidents, I remember, because one of the things that happens when you're in a car accident, you tense up, and that causes a lot of injuries. And I was in a minor car accident, but it messed up the car pretty bad, and I was a passenger. And I remember it clear as a bell. I tensed up, and boom, my knee was hurting me after that. Because I tensed up, I had that knee injury that I suffered from for over 20 years. Dr. Appleton treated me with the laser wave pain treatment, and that pain in my knee gone, and it has not returned. And it was 3 years ago this month, the month of July. I remember that because that's when the radio station was bought by the current owners. It was July 4th. We started with the new owners, and that month, which is now the month of July, I went to see Dr. Appleton for the first time, and he joined us here on the program. The laser wave pain treatment works on all the things I've been telling you guys about the last 3 years, but it also works on pains that you're suffering from car accidents, knee pain, shoulder, neck, all those injuries you get from car accidents because you tense up during those car accidents, like the whiplash, the neck pain, and all that. So listen, go see Dr. Appleton. And here's another thing I learned about Dr. Appleton this blew my mind. I could not believe this was insane to me. Do you know your insurance company only gives you 2 weeks after an auto accident to cover your treatment? That's right. So if you've been in a car accident, go see Dr. Appleton, and insurance does cover it if you go within 2 weeks of that accident. Okay, Dr. Appleton's number is 954-973-0710. Remember, with the laser wave pain treatment, there's no drugs, no shots, no surgery. It's completely painless, no downtime. Of course, the biggest part of it is it works. And with Dr. Appleton, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are always welcome. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. Now, guys, if you are 65 years of age or older or are turning 65 soon, give Chapter a call. The number to Chapter, by the way, is in the description of the video. No matter what state you're in, they'll give you help with your Medicare for free. When you call, you're going to get a live person. They have access to over 24,000 Medicare policies that are out there. They'll find the right one for you. They'll make sure that you have the right policy, the right supplements. They'll make sure your doctors, your specialists, your prescription medications are covered. When you call, you're going to get a live person who will give you answers right away to your Medicare questions. All right? Give them a call, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. The number is in the description of the video. And again, no matter what state you're in the United States, they can help you. 805-754-3033. All right, we'll be back soon. We'll be back in about a minute. I'll take some more calls, and then we'll get to the Bongino, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel mess. Less than a minute, we'll be back. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right? About 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Celebrating 48 years on the radio. Next month, it'll be the big 49 years on the air for the Steve Kane Show next month. All right, call is on hold. You stand by. We're covering the betrayal of Elon Musk with this third party, which is just very, very upsetting. It'll take a call or two, then we got a lot to cover today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Brian, help me.
Okay, no. Almost. Now, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. Okay, now, if you're on hold, hang in there. I want to talk about what's going on with Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino. This is the worst. I mean, this is just awful. Now, you may have seen the story that, and it involves Epstein. So, what came out this morning, well, it came out last night, but it's the big lead story, is that the FBI has released a new report. There was no foul play in the death of Jeffrey Epstein, and there's no Epstein client list. So they have totally, in many ways, cleared Jeffrey Epstein. And, you know, this is the thing. I think we've been more than patient with the Justice Department and the FBI. You know, and I mean, I lost patience with Kash Patel and Bongino after that Maria Bartiromo interview. But a lot of you guys said, we got to give them time. We got to give them time. Why did they do this? You know, there's some things that I've wanted them to do. And what I've wanted them to do is what President Trump hired them to do and gave them the job to do. And that is bring down these lawfare people. Now, they've been doing a lot of arrest of regular criminals, and that's a good thing. But they haven't gone after any of the lawfare people. And there's certain cases with the lawfare against President Trump where there's a lot of what I describe as low-hanging fruit. Judge Mershon in New York, over that corrupt judge in that corrupt criminal trial, and his daughter who was raising all that money, the $100 million. Have they investigated that? What about Fani Willis, who obviously was illegally in coordination with the Biden White House with her gigolo boyfriend? What about that? What about Fani Willis with all of her mortgage fraud charges and her coordination to bring charges against Trump? This mortgage case she brought against Trump with that weirdo judge about the property value of Mar-a-Lago is right out of the playbook of the crimes that she herself has been accused of committing with the mortgage fraud. Did they go after her? And there's others, but those are big ones. Or where's the real investigation into Butler and what happened in Butler or the golf course? Nothing. And they came out last night saying there's no foul play in the death of Jeffrey Epstein and there's no client list. Well, first of all, You'll see this today. I'm going to play one clip, but this has been said many times when Pam Bondi was doing interviews. She said there was a client list. Listen to this. This is one of many times Pam Bondi said there's a client list. She's talking to John Roberts on Fox here.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So what?
Anything that you said, oh my gosh.
All right. Not yet. Okay. So Pam Bondi said that the Epstein list was sitting on her desk, and now the FBI has released a report that says it doesn't exist. It's a figment of the imagination of conspiracy theorists online. Then what was sitting on her desk that she was talking about in these interviews? But let's just say that, and by the way, I don't agree with what I'm about to say, but just for the discussion, let's just say that this FBI report from Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and Pam Bondi about everything Epstein is true. Let's say it's true. I don't believe it's true, but just for the discussion, why make such a big deal about releasing it yesterday afternoon? And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Today is the Monday after the 4th of July, when the 4th of July fell on Friday. Big holiday weekend. 4th of July doesn't fall on Friday very often. I guess, every 7 years? Like next year it'll be on Saturday, then Sunday, then Monday. And the entire country, the United States, has been on a drunken 3-day weekend. Everyone's back today. And they timed the release of this Epstein nonsense, not on Thursday or Friday or even Saturday over a 3-day drunken weekend, but they do it late in the day on Sunday. So it's one of the lead, if not the lead story on newscast Monday morning. Why would they do that? Why are they going out of their way to make sure that this story, which is contradicted by Pam Bondi's own statements, gets so much coverage? Are there any of you out there that are still holding hope with Bongino and Kash Patel? What happened here? You know, this is insane. Now, I've been saying for quite some time now, after that Bartiromo interview, that is Dan Bongino a poser? Meaning, this tough guy cop federal agent act that he was doing all this time on Fox, on his podcast, on the radio, was that an act? Now, I know he was an NYPD officer and a federal agent. You know, he was a Secret Service guy. But he's not Tom Homan. Tom Homan, who turned down being Homeland Security Secretary, it was offered to him first. President Trump said this at Alligator Alcatraz last week. He didn't want that job. He wanted to kick in doors and go out and make arrests and lead law enforcement on the ground and in the field. And Dan Bongino has been presenting himself as kind of like a Tom Homan figure. And now I don't know if he even knows how to do anything other than read files. I don't know if he knows how to be a cop. And is his presentation, has he been a poser, building up a reputation built on things that aren't really accurate? Is he a cubicle cop or a real cop like Tom Homan? This is really twisted beyond the fact that they clear everything involving Jeffrey Epstein, that they timed it for maximum news exposure to be the lead in the news cycle after a 3-day weekend that everyone in the United States celebrates. So I want to hear your thoughts on that. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. I want to take a moment to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. You know, this is great. I don't sit around and worry about the ups and downs of the stock market. I can't handle that anxiety. I work too hard for my money to see it go down, and then, it goes up, but then it goes down again. I mean, how many of you have your financial portfolio on the app on your phone, and you look at it and you say, oh my goodness, look at how much money I lost today. Oh. Well, you know, with annuities, with Jupiter Joe Thomas, that's not a problem because your money is always safe. No matter what happens in the stock market, your money is always safe. Plus, your guaranteed income for the rest of your life. Joe Thomas is offering free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located in the United States, and ask him about the 10% bonus on day one. This is amazing. You can make 10% off your money before you even leave his office. How long is it going to take you to make 10% on your money in these other things in the stock market and everything? A year, 2 years? Who knows? Maybe never, right? But a year, if you're doing well with Joe Thomas and annuities, you're going to make 10% before you even walk out the door with that bonus. Give him a call. Here's the number. And again, you can take advantage of this no-charge consultation no matter where you're located. And he's going to put together a custom proposal just for you based on your situation, okay, and your goals. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. If you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. All right, so if you're on hold, hang in there. We don't have enough time to get involved in a conversation, so I'll take some more calls after the break. But the FBI released a report saying no foul play in the death of Jeffrey Epstein. And by the way, the FBI is MAGA now, right? Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and the Attorney General's Pam Bondi. So there's no foul play, they said, the FBI, Kash Patel and Bongino. And the Epstein client list doesn't exist. Well, if there's no Epstein client list, explain what Pam Bondi here is telling John Roberts on Fox recently.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. Every secretary and department under President Trump has done everything they were hired to do by the president and more, except the Justice Department. Our number is toll-free no matter where you're listening, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I mean, this, and what I want to know from you is this. Is this a betrayal? Is there betrayal on the level of Pence? What happened here? We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be back after this. We'll be back in just over a minute. Hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian. I've covered a lot in the first hour. We'll take a call or two and then get into more. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Steven from Wisconsin.
All right. What's up, Wisconsin?
Hey, I just wanted to say something real quick about Pam Bondi. You know, and as well as Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. I don't really know what's going on.
Well, if you don't know what's going on, don't call me. All right. That's a prerequisite to have a conversation. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Greg.
Hey, Greg. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. But you know what? If we were to listen to your show just 2 months ago, you were the biggest Elon Musk fan ever. You were saying he sends rockets up every day.
Mm-hmm.
He's brilliant.
Yeah, well, you know, a woman loves and trusts her husband until she catches him in bed with the lady that lives next door. You know, you don't know someone's you don't know. Yeah, come on, don't be stupid. Okay, don't be stupid.
Your wife cheating on you?
No, I didn't say. I said a wife loves her husband until she catches him in bed with another woman. You don't know someone's a traitor until they betray you.
And it begs the question, now you're Bondi, Bongino, and Patel, they're traitors too. Now you have, unfortunately, unlike me, you have Trump deranged syndrome. He can do no wrong. You don't think he plays any role in any of these relationships that have gone south? He has,
out of the entire Trump cabinet and administration, everyone outside of the Justice Department has not only done everything they were brought in to do, but then some. Okay, so I think he's, you know,
give me their biggest accomplishment.
I'm not going to listen. I'm not here to validate the Trump administration to you. So he's got one.
No, but that's
excuse me. To quote Kamala Harris. To quote Kamala Harris. I'm speaking. I'm speaking, right? Famous Kamala Harris quote. I am speaking now. Out of everybody in the cabinet.
Now you're quoting Kamala. I love it.
It's called a joke, stupid. It's called a joke. Sarcasm.
Oh, no. Know what it's called? Oh, you think now using Kamala as a punchline is funny?
It was funny in that instance, yes. But out of everyone he's brought in, everyone's doing spectacular except the Justice Department. They screwed up. They're compromised.
How about, we ready? You know what? I'm gonna show you how wrong you are. How about our director of intelligence? Do you think she's doing a great job?
Well, we took out the nuclear facility in Iran.
No.
That's part of the. That involves intelligence.
She was the one refuting that Iran is not.
Long ago, not recently, and and that very well may have been that may have been a diversion.
Oh, now you're conjuring up dreams. It could have been a diversion.
On that, we don't know. Greg, we don't know about that.
We don't know.
But on this, we do know. We know. No,
only-
you wait. Hold on. Pam Bondi said.
Excuse me.
What's the matter with you?
No, what is the matter with you? You let these callers that are pretty much ignorant go on for a minute. I try to form a few sentences.
Oh, I see.
interrupt
Okay,
me.
you're smarter than the other caller. You're more enlightened than the other caller. You're more intelligent than our other callers. Oh, okay. Go ahead, narcissist.
I never.
Go ahead.
No. What I'm saying is,
Mr.
I
I'm smarter
listen
than
to them.
everybody.
I'm not smarter than them. I just can
You said so.
articulate my thoughts in a much.
Oh, you're
better
you're
fashion.
smarter, more informed, and more articulate than the other callers. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think you are?
What? Depends on the caller.
More articulate, more. Wait.
It depends on the caller.
You're not letting me. You ask me a question, I'm going to answer it, and you interrupt me right away.
You asked me a
think
question.
you're smarter?
You said you think you're smarter.
I said no. You asked me a question. Do you think you are? And I was ready to respond, and you interrupt me right away. Because that's your modus operandi. That's the way you don't allow people that have, opposite opinions. Richie can call up all day long, and these other, minions you have, you let them speak. And guess what? When someone actually wants to speak intellectually,
Well,
with
instead
you,
of wasting your time whining with victimhood,
all right, so let me
hear
Let me ask
content.
this question. Now you despise Elon Musk. How quick the tide changed.
Oh, he's betrayed
The
us.
tables have turned.
He's betrayed us.
He portrayed you. Like, how did he betray us? You.
Us, the whole MAGA movement and the president. He's forming a third party to defeat MAGA people.
And why couldn't Trump, the master of the art of the deal, keep that relationship intact?
Because you're dealing with a crazy person, obviously, with Elon Musk. Hey, listen, appreciate the call, Greg. Did you hear what he said? He's smarter and more articulate than the rest of you out there. Well, I guess it depends on the caller. But it must be so nice going through life thinking you're smarter or more articulate than everyone else. Wow, you're on the air.
Hey, it's Bob in Lake Worth. How you doing?
All right, Bob. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm just so excited about what's going on in their country. Our president's doing a great job. The BBB got passed.
That's right.
I'm making money in my 401k. But what I really wanted to point out was Mike Johnson. What a pro, huh? I can't believe what that man's been able to do. How that he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. But yet he finds a way to get it done. So I just want to give a shout out to Mike Johnson. What a great Speaker of the House he is, and how he's really gone beyond my expectations. I knew nothing about the man. I'm like, oh God, another weak, mealy little politician's not going to get anything done.
Yeah.
And thank God Mike Johnson, Thune, and President Trump are doing a fantastic job.
That's right. All right. Appreciate the call. And, the big, beautiful bill, we got the main things in it that we wanted without question. And it's all very good news, contrary to what the media would tell you. Now, that doesn't mean there's not some things I'm not upset about, okay? After the next break, there's a couple other things we're going to jump into. But I'm really upset with Elon Musk. I'm really upset with Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino. And I want to hear your thoughts on Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and Pam Bondi saying there's no foul play in the death of Jeffrey Epstein, and the Epstein client list doesn't exist, even though Pam Bondi said many times that it was sitting on her desk. Right? Again, here's Pam Bondi on Fox News with John Roberts recently.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
It's sitting on my desk. Well, FBI just said yesterday it doesn't exist. It's one thing to say, okay, we got the list, it's inconclusive, there's this problem with the list. Now they're saying the list does not even exist, even though Pam Bondi said it was sitting on her desk. Come on. What's going on here? What is going on here? And, what burns me even beyond the story itself, because I'm not one of those people that's been obsessing over the Epstein list and the Epstein files. I know a lot of people do. And I've been telling people for months, don't expect too much to come out of it. out of the files. But where's the investigation into his death? Where's the investigation into the financials of the guards and their families that were there that day? And how can you say the list doesn't exist when Pam Bondi multiple times said that it did? Now, here's what may be the most important question I ask any of you today. Do you or someone you know suffer from neuropathy? Holy smokes, neuropathy is god-awful. The symptoms of neuropathy really truly are a disability. You become homebound and you're in pain and you're suffering nonstop. The symptoms are awful. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in the hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, falling down all the time, muscle twitching, the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet, no feeling at all. It's awful. Steve had his neuropathy treatment over 3 years ago now with Lighthouse Medical. Lighthouse Medical rid Steve of his neuropathy symptoms, and here we are 3 years later, they have not returned. Lighthouse Medical has a treatment for neuropathy. Lighthouse Medical has a treatment for neuropathy that works, and Lighthouse Medical has a treatment for neuropathy that lasts because we're 3 years out and Steve's symptoms have not returned. Is that something? That's absolutely amazing. Give them a call. Make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show, and you can take advantage of their no-charge consultation. And remember this as well, no matter where you're located, they can help you. Even if you're local and you can't make it into their office in person, that's okay. Give them a call. They understand that if you're suffering from neuropathy, it may be difficult, if not impossible, for you to get out of the house. So give them a call. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. Call us on hold standby. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be right back. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe, guys, all right? Now, this is nuts. It'd be interesting to see where this goes because Pam Bondi said she had the list on her desk so many times. So now all of a sudden there is no list? Which is it? 30 seconds. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll go back to the phones. We've covered quite a bit. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. Lake Worth here.
Yeah, Lake Worth. All right. What's on your mind, Lake Worth?
Good. Elon said that Trump's name is on the Epstein list.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's convenient that the list no longer exists? And Kash and the gang, that's a pretty good name for a band, are keeping the list under wraps because the world can't handle the truth. We know Trump and Epstein used to live very close to each other.
Slow down for a second. Now, slow down. A couple things, excuse me. A couple things here. We know for a fact that Trump is not on the Epstein list because the Democrats would have released the list if his name was on it to stop him from becoming president again. All right? And that's a fact. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi. I have a theory, Brian. Maybe far-fetched, but what do you think about this? Kash Patel, well, we'll start with him. His significant other is Latino. Pam Bondi, her best friend, Anna Navarro, she's Hispanic, obviously. Pam Bondi, significant other, we all know, Latino. The deputy director, his wife, Puerto Rican. Perhaps they're very upset with these raids.
Hey, it's as good as any other theory. I mean, we know what they came out with is insane, right? So there's so there's something going on here. What it is, we may never know. But and also this is the thing you got to understand. Even if what they've released is true, which I don't believe it is, but even if it's true, look at how they timed it. They haven't gone after any of the lawfare people. They have bent over backwards to release this information. They do it at the beginning of a new week after a 3-day weekend national holiday so that it's the lead story everywhere. No foul play in Epstein, the list doesn't exist. This release was timed for maximum exposure. They went out of their way to promote this story so much. Something's up here. I mean, we could sit here all day and speculate as to why. I just don't trust these three anymore at all. And I think, I haven't trusted them since that Bartiromo interview on Fox weeks and weeks ago. But now I think we have confirmation that they're useless, maybe counterproductive.
I agree. All right. Well, you take good care, Brian.
All right. Take care. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is...
I'm sure it is. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on now?
Okay. All right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
I tell you, man, it really annoys me that I thought Elon Musk was a good guy, and I was never a big fan, and then I saw he became friends with President Trump. But he's no friend. Anybody who's a friend doesn't do what he's doing. If he got together with President Trump and got everybody who's against the spending problems that they're having, and got him into the office and said, listen, you guys got to stop what you're doing, otherwise we're going to, you can do everything you want, but you got to stop this spending, otherwise we're going to go against you. I'm going to spend money to get somebody else. I think that would have worked. You don't need a third party. Then to turn around and open a third party up if he does this is really a backstabbing thing, man.
It is. This is Benedict Arnold level betrayal. It's really up there.
It's really, I can't believe he would do something like this.
Well, he did it.
I'm really disappointed.
He's done it.
He did it, and he's really, I don't know if President Trump will ever forgive him for this, because this is really backstabbing.
Absolutely. All right, take care. I'll give you the last word, Doug. Go ahead.
And as for Pam Bondi, the only thing I can think of is this list that she has must have so many people in government looking really bad.
Well, this is the problem. She said multiple times on Fox the list was sitting on her desk. Now it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And part of the problem with it, part of the problem is, you hear what that last caller says. Oh, well, Elon said Trump's on the list. Now it doesn't exist. See what they've done? Right? See what they've done? Exactly. They've covered up and then helped the bad guys and the lawfare people. We might as well have Chris Wray back running the FBI. Might as well bring Comey back to run the FBI.
Yeah, really. I mean, like I said, there must be so many people in government in that list that they don't want to wreck the government.
There's something. There's something. Exposed. All right, Doug. Appreciate the call. Take care. Now, this here, our big, beautiful bill got passed and signed into law on the 4th of July. And, of course, the internet is filled with people that are saying all kinds of things about the big, beautiful bill. I want to play this, and I'll play this uninterrupted. See, and at the end, I'll tell you the answer to this. See if you can pick up the fallacy and the lie that this liberal's saying. Okay, so her and her friend no longer have health insurance because President Trump signed the big, beautiful bill? First off, how's that possible? How's that possible? First off, any insurance office is closed, and they're not even open yet, right? They're not going to be open until 9 a.m. Eastern time in the United States. How did anyone get their insurance covered over a 3-day holiday weekend, and here we are Monday morning, the offices haven't even opened up? Here's another thing. This girl is in her early 20s, okay, and very healthy. What, is she on Medicaid? Is she scamming the system? What, is she on public assistance? She looks able-bodied and healthy to me, and young. So how is she losing her health insurance if she's a healthy American girl in her 20s? And the internet is filled with lying lunatics like this. Nobody has lost their insurance. No one, not even the illegals yet, because things haven't even been processed. The only people losing their insurance are people that are illegals in this country that have no right to have it, or people that have it through fraudulent means. All right, let's see here. I'll take a call or two, then we'll break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on? It's Derek. I'm just from Texas.
Okay, all right. You take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Brian? This is Jan. I've been watching you for a couple of weeks here now. Calling from Tucson.
All right.
Yeah, I just seen your little segment. I heard you talking about the Epstein files. I'm just wondering what your reasoning is for supporting someone who's on the Epstein files.
Who's on the Epstein files?
Yeah, I mean, isn't Trump on the list?
Oh, no.
Oh, he's not? Didn't Elon Musk, expose him or whatnot?
Have you seen this list?
Well, no. But
no, okay. Has he? No, Elon hasn't seen the list either.
How do you know that? You were with Trump when...
Because he didn't say that I saw the list and Trump is on it. He didn't say that. He said, I've seen the Epstein list and Trump's on it. He didn't say that. That's not what he said. And by the way, he retracted that statement. He retracted that. He said it when he was angry, and he didn't mean it. He retracted that statement. All right, appreciate the call. Now, I want to talk to you guys about Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. You know, Dr. Appleton's been with us here on the radio station for years now. I've been telling you how he'll rid you of all your pains. He's done it with me 7 times. Arthritis, bursitis, work injuries, sports injuries, strains and sprains, repetitive motion injuries, post-surgical swelling, neck and back injuries, knee pain, tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, rotary tears, herniated disc, acute pain, chronic pain. All those pains and many more you can be rid of with Dr. Appleton's laser away pain treatment. He's rid me of arthritis. He's rid me of pain from injuries I've had from falling off my skateboard. And Also, now this is what I've just recently learned from Dr. Appleton. If you've been in a car accident, you know those pains you have from your car accident? The laser wave pain treatment with Dr. Appleton will rid you of those pains too. The neck pains, any other pains you have from a car accident, he could treat those as well. This is really amazing. It never really occurred to me before. But, you know, some of the treatments I've had, like with my shoulders, I've had 3 treatments on my shoulders because I've had 3 shoulder injuries. And those are accidents. By the way, slip and falls, any type of accident you have, car accident or any other type of accident, if you're in pain, go see Dr. Appleton, take advantage of his laser wave pain treatment, and say bye-bye to your pain. Now, if you've been in a car accident, even as a passenger or in an Uber or a Lyft, go see him and do it quick, because insurance companies will only cover your treatment for a car accident if you go see the doctor within 2 weeks after the accident. So if you've been in an accident, go see Dr. Appleton. Say bye-bye to your pain as well. And remember, with Dr. Philip Appleton, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Every line on our board is lit. Let me take some calls, but first, I want to play. This is Dan Bongino. And now, if you're just tuning in, the FBI, Kash Patel Dan Bongino's FBI, with the Attorney General Pam Bondi, released late yesterday that there was no foul play in the death of Jeffrey Epstein, and I know, and the Epstein list does not exist. Here's Dan Bongino and a montage. The first is from 2023, and then the second part is him this year talking to Bartiromo. But the first clip is him on his podcast. Mm.
There are a lot of people who are this deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio
Wow.
of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it. Outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal. He killed himself. Again, you want me to get, I've seen the whole thing. He killed himself.
There you go. I mean, what the heck? All right, let's go. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Name is Ralph.
Yeah, Ralph. Where are you calling from?
Louisiana.
What's on your mind?
I just want to know if Donald Trump had the final say on this. I mean, I know he's following this very well, and I know he's very involved with it.
Yeah.
Does he have a say?
No.
In this?
No, because the law enforcement part of the administration has to be independent. They're not his personal police force. So no, it's Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Bongino. It's the three of them.
Okay.
So if he got involved, they would impeach him over it.
I understand. Well, thank you. I appreciate that information.
All right, take care. Take care. Yeah. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Chris from Chicago.
Hey, Chris. What's on your mind?
No, I just want to. I don't know where you're at right now, but even with the list, clearly it's damaging to both parties. So that's why the list would never be released. The Democrats can't release it because it'll hurt them too, just like the Republicans. That's why I say you got to use a little bit of common sense with that. You know, and
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. It's not going to hurt Trump.
Well, you don't know that.
I know
Like
that.
I said,
No, we know that. The reason
know that?
we know that there's nothing that could hurt Trump with Jeffrey Epstein because the Democrats and the Never Trumpers did everything they could do to stop President Trump from being reelected, right? They arrested him let me finish. They arrested him multiple times on phony charges. They got mug shots. They booked him. They arrested him in Georgia, arrested him in New York. They shot him in Butler. They tried to shoot him again at his golf course in Florida. If there was anything damaging with him and Epstein, they would have released that so they could stop him from coming back to the White House, and they didn't.
But like I said, it's damaging to both parties.
Not if there was a Trump part and they just released that part.
It ain't. But you can't just release no one name off the list. Like when you release the list, you
Sure
gotta
you
release
can.
all of it.
No, you don't. Haven't you ever seen redacted files? But you've got bigger problems. You've got bigger problems in Chicago. How many people were shot over the 4th of July weekend in Chicago?
I agree. I mean, this new young generation, they don't care about life. I'm
This
not
new
sure
young
if
generation,
they're
when was the last time there was a generation in Chicago that wasn't killing each other?
Man, they kill each other everywhere.
Why isn't Black Lives Matter in Chicago on the ground stopping the street killings?
They do.
Come on.
They do. They on the ground.
Come on. Only thing I've heard Black Lives Matter complain about are police officer involved incidents with bad guys.
That's because that's a narrative that you want to push. You're not trying to pay attention to nothing else.
Do you know why? Do you know why the neighborhood I live in doesn't have people killing each other?
You know, in Florida.
I didn't know. No. Hold on. Why do you think my neighborhood doesn't have people in the street shooting each other dead like Chicago? Why do you think that is?
Because you don't live in a major city, Chris.
You live in a
small suburban town.
No, I live in a major metropolis. South Florida is one big city. from the Treasure Coast to Miami. No, it's because we wouldn't put up with it. We wouldn't put up with it.
What's the population of your township? What's the population of your
I
township?
live in a metropolis that has millions and millions of people in it.
Give me a number, Chris.
It's Brian. I don't know who Chris is.
Huh?
It's Brian. I don't know who Chris is. I'm
Give
not.
me a number.
I don't know the exact population, but it's millions of people.
Well, let me tell you right now, you got over 300 million people just in the city of Chicago alone.
300 million?
So you got,
That's like the whole population of the country. 300 million live in Chicago?
I'm sorry. I apologize. 3 million. You got over 3 million people that live in the city of
Yeah.
Chicago alone.
Yeah.
Okay, and 9 million that live in the metropolitan area,
Yeah.
surrounding suburbs.
See,
so when you got those many
in
people
my
living
in
a
my
small
community
area-
in my community in Florida, if
let me finish, please.
if what was going on in Chicago was going on in my town in Florida, the sheriff and the police chiefs and the local officials would be out of work.
You know, per capita, Florida got worse rates, murder rates than Chicago. You know that, right?
The murder rate is not worse than Chicago. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Welcome to the show. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There's more people in Florida than in Chicago, so maybe more people are getting shot. But any time during warm months like this that there's a 3-day weekend, it's it's Dodge City up there. It's the Wild Wild West in Chicago. All right, if you're on hold, did we take our bottom of the? Yeah, we did. Okay, we're out of the bottom. All right, let's take some more calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, yes, this is Gail calling. How are you from DC?
All right, Gail in DC. What's up?
Yeah, a couple of things. Some months back, I had engaged and called the show in trying to understand about the danger and try to forewarn people about the danger of Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
And that here we have an illegal immigrant who got here illegally. His brother has been very transparent. His father, his parents have been very transparent. And you were very much an advocate of what does all that mean, because he's very brilliant. He has all this money. And because he was an advocate for the MAGA branch of the government, is it now clear that when you have, there's a couple of things. So that was the first thing, just to remind you who this person is. The second thing I wanted to ask you is, do you now see the dangers of having loyalists and people who are only loyalists be in government, whether they're experienced or not? Because Kash Patel and the people that are, working for Trump are loyalists. That's what Project 2025 was.
Okay.
It was an
All right.
experiment.
All right. Now slow down. Okay. And then let me respond. I'll go in reverse. Project 2025 is a liberal urban legend. It has nothing to do with the Trump administration. So far as loyalist, you want people working for you when you're a business owner or the president or whatever you do. Maybe you're an office manager. You want people that are loyal to you and the company and the government and all that. You don't want disloyal people around. But here's the part here's the part you've really been waiting for. When it comes to Elon Musk, you were right.
Thank you.
Now, do you feel better now
But
that you were right about something?
At what cost, though?
Well, I don't know. The cost is the cost is yet to be seen. If this third party thing happens, the cost will be great. Okay. But he did good work with Doge. I watch his rockets launch almost every day from my backyard here in Florida, and that's a good thing.
The vanity project, that has nothing to do with what's going to help society. What I'm trying to say is that at what cost? We can't keep making, we can't keep letting
Help society.
People of power sit up here.
If you want to help society, you want to support Trump and MAGA candidates for every office possible. If you want to help society.
Absolutely, but I'm saying, why would, it's not about Trump. Let me ask you something. First of all, do you think that Trump is a philanthropist? Do you think that in his lifetime, has there been any proof that he has cared about anybody else outside of what can enrich him?
Oh yeah, he's done a lot of charitable things. He just doesn't brag about them.
Name them.
There was a couple that he came across, an old lady that had a flat tire, and hold on, and he paid off her mortgage.
Oh, that's one person. So we're talking about you can only pick out one instance. I'm talking about.
Well, you said give me an example. I give you an example, and now you want more. I mean, he doesn't. He does. And I'll tell you something. I'll tell you. Well, no, that's pretty good. I wish he'd come across me with a flat tire.
I don't do that every day. What are you talking about?
You don't know what he does every day, but I'll give you an example. I'm trying to answer your question. I'm trying to answer your question. On Friday, on the 4th of July, he signed into law the Big Beautiful Bill. And part of the Big Beautiful Bill was to extend his tax cuts from his first term that were set to expire and made most of them permanent. So you want to talk about philanthropy?
Who does that benefit, though?
Me?
Who does that
You?
benefit?
Anybody that pays taxes?
No, it doesn't. It benefits the billionaires and the millionaires of the world and people who make a substantial
anyone who pays income taxes is benefiting from that permanently, thanks to the Big Beautiful Bill, which includes me. And I'm not a millionaire or a billionaire. I guess I'm a thousandaire, perhaps, but you know.
Once again, price versus cost.
Price versus cost. Oh, back to the. Hey, listen. You were right about. I got to run for a break. You were right about one thing, but wrong about everything else. All right, take care. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. I want to talk about coastal weight loss secret. You know, it's amazing. You know, I got together on the 4th of July. Some of my friends that are our listeners that go on our MAGA cruise every year. They put on a 4th of July party, and I went to a 4th of July cookout with some of our cruisers from our MAGA cruise. And I got there, I got out of the car. The first thing someone said to me was, "Oh, Brian, you got the skinny jeans on." That's right, thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. That's right, I most definitely have my skinny jeans on because I can fit in skinny jeans now. And some of these are people I've not seen since the cruise, which was March. And they said, "Wow, Brian, you've lost a lot of weight." You know, some of you may watch me on television or on the computer or on your phone or something online because I'm on YouTube so much. YouTube, like you hear this talk about people on TV, it adds weight to you. So you can see, even if you just watch me online, how much weight I've lost. But when you see me in person, you really see how much weight I've lost. And it's a lot. It is a lot. And everyone was complimenting me that I got together with from our cruise at the 4th of July cookout at Murphy's house. And yeah, it's great. It's thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And I lost all this weight without exercise. No exercise, unless you want to count running my mouth. I do zero exercise, eating foods I would normally eat. All right, and if you were at the 4th of July cookout at Murphy's house, you saw I was eating the hot dogs and the hamburgers and everything else, okay? And without taking any prescription medications like Ozempic. It's absolutely amazing. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Give them a call. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back. Holy crap. All right, we'll be back in less than a minute. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Call us on hold, stand by. I want to recap the two big stories that I've been talking about today. And there's some other things I haven't gotten to yet, which we'll cover in the next hour. But a couple things I've been covering today that are new is over the weekend, Elon Musk, in a major betrayal of, against President Trump and the entire MAGA movement, has announced he's starting a third party to primary out all these MAGA candidates, which is just very destructive. We've been covering that betrayal. And then Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino released a report, the official findings in the Jeffrey Epstein from the FBI, and their new report that was timed to begin the new news cycle after the holiday weekend. No foul play in the passing of Jeffrey Epstein, and the Epstein client list does not exist. Even though Pam Bondi had been doing these Fox interviews saying the list was on her desk, now it doesn't exist. So we're talking about these betrayals over the weekend, and of course, at the same time, the great success that the president had in the passage of the big, beautiful bill. All right, back to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Sue from Michigan.
Hey, Sue. What's up?
Hey, something has always bothered me from moment one with the PSYOP or show with the Epstein, and that is when they brought him out. If y'all remember, when they brought him out, he didn't look gray. He looked rosy, and what got me was he smirked. He was laying there and smirking. I don't think he was deceased.
All right, whatever. I don't know about that, but I do know for sure that something stinks with Patel, Bongino, and Pam Bondi with this. That we know.
Sure does. Now,
that we know.
How would you explain? Yeah, how would you explain? So none of these people were, relevant to the situation at the time. So they come in and then they're hit with this.
Well, so they've been compromised somehow. How that is, we don't exactly know, but they've been compromised. And when Dan Bongino is no longer by the way, thanks for the call. When Dan Bongino is no longer the deputy director of the FBI, is he going to be able to return to his radio show and podcast after this? How would he ever be able to take a call again? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay. All right. That is the fourth dump of the day that we've had to go. So make sure you got the dump again. All right. If you're on hold, stand by as we wait for the delay to re-engage. I understand that there's all kinds of possibilities. But what we know is the story stinks. And, I lost patience with them after that Bartiromo interview, but many of you in this audience said, well, let's give them time. Are any of you still out there who are conservative? Any Republicans out there? Do you still have confidence in Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi? Do you still? Or have you finally said enough? Well, I mean, which is it? I mean, it's a problem. It's a problem. All right, now, while I'm waiting for the delay to re-engage, I want to tell everyone about this great deal from MyPillow. With our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, you will receive free with any purchase you make with our promo code KANE, a free with God All Things Are Possible multi-use MyPillow 2.0. That's with any purchase. I got one today. I bought some washcloths, which you can get for as low as $9.99. And even with the washcloths, with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, I got the free with God All Things Are Possible multi-use MyPillow 2.0. This is an exclusive bonus that you get with our promo code KANE. And by the way, that MyPillow that you get for free with any purchase with our promo code KANE at checkout has a value of $39.98, and you're getting it for free. It has a beautiful cover or case on the pillow with beautiful artwork and that great passage from Matthew, with God all things are possible. Go to mypillow.com/Kane, K-A-N-E, mypillow.com/Kane, and use our promo code KANE at checkout, and you get that pillow for free. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, my God.
All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right. You missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, it's me again.
Okay, well, no, it's not. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing? This is Chris out of Florida.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, how's it going? So I just wanted to comment on what you were talking about with Pam Bondi and Bongino. So what is your take on, I've heard or seen a couple people, and it kind of makes sense, there's some precedent for it now with the B-2 bombings in Iran. Go ahead.
No, I'm waiting. Yeah, the bombings. Go ahead.
So what is your thought on it being kind of like, they're smoke and mirrors type situation where they might be raiding people as we speak, for all we know.
Might be raiding people.
We
might
don't
be
have all the
raiding
information,
people.
but
I mean, how long are we going to wait? They've been there for 6 months. I haven't seen anything. They've been doing a good job arresting regular criminals, and they've amped it up on some regular people, but they haven't gone after any of the lawfare people. And this is another thing. Even if everything they're finding show are true about Epstein, why do this first? Why not look into Fannie Willis first, Letitia, the judge in New York? Why are they doing this first? And why did they release it at the beginning of a new week after a 3-day national holiday where it's going to get maximum exposure? No, these are 3 people that have something that stinks going on. I don't know what it is,
maybe,
but this isn't right.
You might be right. Yeah, you might be right. I'm just kind of, trying to weigh the options here, see what's going on.
Well, how many chances are we going to give them? I mean, how many chances are we going to give them?
Look, I'm not 100% happy with them either, with all the back and forth and, being told these things, the binders, the whole nine. But, there's a lot of work behind it. I don't know what goes down behind it, but, I'm trying to give them
So your theory is that Bongino, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi release this as a distraction so they can catch people off guard and do raids? That's crazy.
It's not necessarily my theory. I said that I saw, different people talking about it, and I just wanted your thoughts. But,
that's people making stuff up. That's people making stuff up. That's absurd. They would.
You could be right.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Listen. A lot of what we're talking about here involves theory because we don't have all the story, but we do know this: what's going on with this stinks. That is a fact. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, Steve from Chicago.
Hey, Steve. What's up?
Hi. I don't know. It doesn't look good that this thing got dropped because when I hear the accusations, especially from Elon, that like Trump was on the list, maybe they made up and I don't know. I mean... Well,
see, this is another problem. This is another problem. So now people are saying, well, Elon said Trump's on the list. Now the list doesn't exist. That's proof that he's on the list. Give me a break. Give me a break. I mean, this is just nonsense. What's going on here? Just complete nonsense.
I think it is nonsense. I agree with that.
I mean, what would, if Trump, Trump had a rally on Thursday. It was a great rally. If Dan Bongino and Kash Patel came up, do you think the crowd would cheer them on at a Trump rally or boo them off the stage?
Right. I understand your point.
All right, take care. Appreciate the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, good morning, Brian. It's Deb from...
Oh, all right. Sorry about it. I disconnected you by mistake. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, man? My name's Carl. I'm calling from Texas.
Yeah, Carl.
I was calling because I heard a caller call in earlier. He was talking about Trump being mentioned on like the Epstein file list or something like that.
Yes.
I wanted to hear more about your stance on that.
I said, well, I'll tell you what I told him, and since you were listening, you heard it. I said, we know he's not on the list because if he was on the list, the Democrats would have released it to stop him from getting elected again. So we have proof that he's not on the list because of that and that alone. All right, callers on hold, you stand by. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Our number is 888-465-2631. 2 hours down, 1 to go. We'll be right back. Hey, what's up? Okay, I want to put you on hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, hold on. We'll be back shortly. Okay. Hold on. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Everybody can hear you. So. Yeah, we'll be back.
Okay.
We'll be back soon. I'll wait.
Can I talk to Lori? I know.
No, everybody will hear you. Everybody will.
Okay.
Just wait.
All right.
All right, we're getting ready to come back soon. So.
Okay, you gotta make sure.
Less than 2
you
minutes.
push the button.
Well, you're on now, so you'll be on. All right. 90 seconds.
90 seconds.
90 seconds.
One minute. All right, 30 seconds. The third hour has begun. Welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Steve joining us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good, good, good. Lots happening. I was going
to... You're talking about Kash Patel and we can't trust Kash?
Well, there's been a lot of things that have come out, okay? And so I'm going to recap here at the top of the hour. If you're on hold, hang in there. We may get back to the calls in a little bit, or we may not. But there were some good things that happened over the weekend, but there were also some bad things. And as typical with things involving news, we focus on the negative, the bad. Late yesterday, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino released a very disturbing report. They said there was no foul play in the passing of Jeffrey Epstein, and the famous Epstein list doesn't exist. It's a myth. And the problem with that, there's a few problems with that. Number one, Pam Bondi in the last few months, as recently as just a few weeks back, has been on Fox News saying that she found the Epstein list and it was sitting on her desk. And now this list that was on her desk doesn't exist, never existed. So there's a conflict there. And I think most people that are Trump supporters are, most, not all, but this story is bizarre.
The only one you're questioning here, Pam Bondi, and who else?
Well, Pam Bondi, it's an FBI report. So Kash Patel and Dan Bongino signed off on it. And Dan Bongino and Kash Patel in the last 4 years were two of the most vocal people saying that there was foul play, and we got to get to the bottom of this.
Okay, the most obvious question that hits me right off the top of my head is, do you think Don knows about this?
I don't know. I mean, he's not, and he may be as upset as we are. He may be as upset as we are.
So you think that based on the proposition that he knows about it?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, he knows the truth, whatever it is.
So why do you think nothing's happened?
Well, I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, this is...
Well, I would imagine, I only have, I'm like you, I have my imagination, you have yours. I can only imagine he wouldn't just let a thing like that go by and do nothing about it.
I don't know. I mean, he's not,
Sound like the Don I know.
Getting involved in law enforcement investigations at the Justice Department, he may not want to do that and spend the political capital that would cost. They would run they could impeach him for that. It would give the Democrats a great issue to run on, that he's interfering with the Justice Department. They could do that. But here's the thing that also makes it, there's a couple things that make it very questionable. Not just those bizarre interviews that Kash and Bongino did in the last few weeks on Fox that look like hostage videos.
Bongino in that interview, I've never seen him like that.
He was sweating.
I know him pretty well,
Yeah.
I've never seen him that out of it.
He was sweating. And it was just, and he did 2 interviews, and they were just, one was more bizarre than the next. Okay? Pam Bondi has been saying for weeks that the Epstein list is on her desk. So now the Epstein list doesn't exist, and it never existed now all of a sudden, when she's been saying that the list was on her desk. And the other thing that to me is insane about this, they haven't done anything that we know of against any of these lawfare people. They've been focused on this. Now they did it, and the release was to get maximum press exposure. This week, 4th of July fell on a Friday. That only happens every 7 years, right? So we had a 3-day 4th of July weekend. Most of the country is on a news blackout. And they timed the release of this Epstein nonsense so that it was a big story in the start of the first news cycle after a big holiday weekend, which gives it maximum exposure. So that's it now. And I've already gotten 2 or 3 calls, I think 3 so far. Oh, now we know Trump's on it because they said he was on the list. Now there never was a list. That means they're covering for Trump and he's on it. Everything about this stinks. These 3 people there's something going on here. Something's going on. What it is, I don't know.
Any theories?
Though they're obviously compromised. You know, and you could just tell by how Bongino was sweating on television.
Well, that's like saying Trump is compromised.
Trump's not compromised.
Well,
The president can't get involved in the Justice Department and the FBI. The president can't get involved in that. It would be a violation. They would impeach him for it. The Democrats would run on it for obstruction of justice and lawfare. They'd go after him for lawfare, as crazy as that sounds. I would expect at some point, he doesn't want to do it now, at some point, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are going to be removed by Trump at some point, would be my guess. But he may not want to do it and cause an issue over it right now.
Pam Bondi?
She may be in trouble too. I mean, this is really bad. You know, she said, I played the audio earlier on the show. I've seen her many times say the Epstein list is on my desk. Now all of a sudden it doesn't exist and it never existed? Come on. Something's not right here. Something's not right here. Now, the other thing we have problems with, and this is a big deal too, is the betrayal of Elon Musk starting a third party. Now, this is something that, you know, could have long-term negative consequences for us, big time. Because...
You really think that Leon, the polls so far are indicating since the split up that Elon doesn't have that much support by himself?
He doesn't need that much. You know, Ross Perot... on election day in 1992, Ross Perot got like 16% of the vote, right? So and those were pretty much all conservatives. So Bill Clinton won, and Bill Clinton won in 92 with only 43% of the vote. And I know this, okay? Libertarians who vote Republican are self-important, narcissistic lunatics who would vote for an America Party if they said that they were against government waste and spending. And it would shave off a whole bunch of votes in the midterm elections if this goes through. Yeah, because of the self-destructive libertarians, which there are a lot of these days, more than ever probably. So, you know, and Elon has unlimited financial resources to back candidates. And he could definitely he could do this country a lot of damage with a third party.
Are you figuring he's the candidate?
No, he can't run. He can't run. He was born in South Africa.
He's not a natural too.
But it's not that he thinks that the person would win. If during the next presidential election, he has enough money to finance a campaign and throw so much money at it, he could get them on the ballot. And he doesn't need them on the ballot in all 50 states, just on the battleground states. He gets a third-party America candidate in the battleground states that gets conservative votes from these lunatic, self-important libertarians, and the Democrats win battleground states. That he could cost us the next presidential election with this.
Well, you could make a case for that in the abstract, but I think the reality is if Donald Trump continues to deliver the way he's been delivering, I don't think anybody's going to reject his endorsement.
He could put up lunatics that he buys off. He is the richest man in the world, and this is the thing you got to understand about how rich he is. The second richest man. Elon has twice as much money as the second richest man. So the amount of money he has is he's like a government, right? He's got so much money, he's like a government. So he could find some idiot like this Massey guy, put him on the ballot, talk about cutting government waste and blah, 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 and get these libertarian lunatics that would normally vote Republican to vote for him in battleground states, and that's it. I mean, this betrayal by Elon Musk it's bad and it's disgusting, and it has to be exposed. And you know, if it wasn't for Ross Perot, H.W. Bush would have been reelected. You know, if you put together, Ross Perot most everyone who voted for him was a conservative. So if you put Bush and Ross Perot's votes together, it was like 53, 54% would have voted Republican. Clinton only had 43% of the vote. So we had like 57% almost going Republican. So it doesn't take, you know how stupid and self-important and narcissistic and self-destructive libertarians can be? You know how they operate, you know? And it could cost us the next presidential election.
Well, I thought you had more faith in Donald.
I always have faith in Trump, but I got to be realistic. I mean, you know.
Well, I don't know how realistic what you're worried about is.
If he wasn't the richest man in the world, he wouldn't have the resources to do. I mean, he makes Soros look like a middle-class guy.
In Wisconsin, what about the recently in the last election? Elon backed the candidate. I believe it was in Pennsylvania, or one of those states around there, and the candidate lost.
Oh, that's good. I hope that's the way it turns out.
Put a fortune into the guy's campaign for him in person.
Well, that's good.
And the guy flopped.
That's good. But you put it in a three-way race, you've got a Democrat, a MAGA Republican, and then this third party, and you're shaving off in that general election. That's a problem. Now, I want to remind people, Saturday the 19th, that's a week from this Saturday. All right?
Oh, yeah, that's your appearance.
Yep, a week from Saturday. It's July 19th. Come meet me, Brian Craig, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 at Attorney Barry Siegel's Medicaid seminar. This is at Barry Siegel's main office in Boca. It's off of Military Trail. I'm going to give you the number. I can't remember the last time I did a weekend appearance, certainly not on a Saturday. Usually they're during the week. So a lot of you that work during the week that haven't had a chance to come out. All of you that were at Wings Plus, please come to this and take a new picture with me since I lost all this weight. Those pictures of me at Wings Plus on Inauguration Day, that's like another person when you see me in person now. But it's Saturday the 19th, a week from Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. It's the Medicaid seminar at Attorney Barry Siegel's office. It's completely free. But you have to call to reserve your spot because seating is limited, and they'll give you directions when you call. Here's the number, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. We'll be right back. We'll be back in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, we'll be back.
Okay.
All right, Steve, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute. Hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes.
All right, just over a minute. You want to take some calls, or what do we want to do?
This is where we usually don't connect. If you think, let's give it a try with calls.
All right.
But be prepared to.
All right.
hang up after
We got a
that.
minute. We'll be back.
All right.
Thirty seconds.
Oh.
Stand by. Hold on. We are back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Our number, toll free, 888-465-2631, if you'd like to call in. And if you're on hold, hang in there. You know, though I do want to talk about the big, beautiful bill. Trump got everything he wanted in the bill, okay? So that was a great success, and no doubt about that. I know they're trying to blame I don't know if you've seen this in the media, they're trying to blame the floods in Texas on Doge and the big beautiful bill and Trump, but Trump got everything he wanted. Okay, now they may have gotten some pork and stuff in there, but the big beautiful bill was a huge success. And the Trump tax cuts that were set to expire from his first term, most of them have been made permanent. So we got our permanent tax cuts with that, which is awesome. And senior citizens on Social Security, I think, got more than Trump was promising because.
Well, do you know what the story was on that?
Well, there's some. I don't understand how all these parliamentary rules thing work in Congress. I don't think anybody does, and they use that confusion to manipulate the process. But there's some congressional rules where they could not eliminate the taxes on Social Security. So what Trump did was put in a big tax deduction for senior citizens on their Social Security. So that may be even, I don't remember, it was pretty big though. It was thousands of dollars. It was a few $1,000s. So that, in many instances, is probably greater than no taxes, right? So a lot of seniors are probably going to get more money than they would have with no taxes because you're in a situation where you may get a return when you didn't before, right? Or your return will be larger than it was before. So we got most of the Trump tax cuts not only have been extended, but have been made permanent. We got no tax on overtime. We got no tax on tips. We got this massive tax deduction for senior citizens on Social Security. You know, they funded immigration and the Border Patrol and all of that. That not only did they get billions of dollars in more funding, do you know that the Border Patrol, ICE, Homeland Security for their border security, their budget, thanks to the big beautiful bill, is larger than the entire military budget of every country in the world except the United States and China. The budget of the Border Patrol and ICE is now larger than Russia's entire annual military budget and greater than every military budget in the world except for the United States and China. So, I mean, that really tells you. So we got everything, so that means the border is not only taken care of, it's taken care of for like ever, right? Because of all this massive budget that they just got for Border Patrol, ICE, and everything that goes along with it, billions of dollars. So it's being taken as like a serious thing for the first time ever. So the big beautiful bill was a success beyond imagination. In fact, as time goes on, like this instance I just told you, we're going to find out a lot of things about this bill that are great that we don't even know about yet as they start to go into action. And of course, the big beautiful bill, it cut off all these illegals that are illegally getting Medicaid benefits. They're being cut off from the big beautiful bill. So while we have some bad news from the Justice Department and Elon over the weekend, the big beautiful bill that Trump signed into law on the 4th of July is one of the biggest successes in the history of presidential bills being signed. I mean, it's amazing. So we had a lot of good news too, Steve.
Well, I don't know what to say.
Well, things are going incredibly well. They're just not perfect, But
let's see what the audience says.
All right, now if you're on hold, stand by. We'll go to the calls in a couple of minutes. Our number 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call. I think we have nope, every line on the board is lit. So if you're on hold, hang in there. We're coming up on the bottom of the hour shortly, so most of you are going to have to hang on until after the bottom of the hour break. But after the bottom of the hour, we'll go straight to the phones, okay? And maybe we'll be at the phones for the rest of the show. We shall see. But when I know I focused a lot on the bad news over the weekend, mainly because they timed this Epstein thing from the FBI to begin a new news cycle, and it has to be discussed. And but let's take some calls, Steve, and then we'll move on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Steve and Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, Steve. I'm very optimistic about everything that's going on. Win-win-win. This BBB bill, and in his speech over the weekend when he was talking, he had actually mentioned Pam Bondi. I don't know if anybody else heard that, but
Yep.
he said, Pam, you're doing a great job.
Yes, he did. I saw that.
And the Friday before last, on the 27th, he said you're going to go down as like the greatest attorney general.
I heard
ever,
that. I heard that.
So he's pumping them up, and I really don't think. I think what's going on here, there's a lot of expectations, and I think what people fail to realize.
Well, address you're a good call. Address this particular episode with the Justice Department about how Bongino and they appear to be not in control. I mean, does that not give you pause?
Well, no, I trust these guys 100%. But what gives me pause, Steve, is that I think we can all agree that Obama, going back to his whole 8 years, and even under Trump's first 4, and definitely under Biden's, he was flooding the federal government, the judiciary, the FBI, the DOJ. I mean, he was going after the best of the worst, the Columbia, these liberal, like the liberal mafia. They're like sleeper cells throughout the FBI. Dan Bongino gets in there. I look at it as sort of a Simon Peter operation. If you're Catholic, well, you should know who Simon Peter is, but Simon the Man, Peter the Rock.
I know who Peter was.
Yeah, Simon the Man. Jesus gave him the name Peter, and that's the rock that the church was built on. The FBI had gone astray in a major way, and you've seen the proof. Everybody has, from the going after spying on Catholics. Sending 30 people after Roger Stone. That's like sending.
Well, so why do you think they came out with these findings? The list didn't exist, no foul play, and they timed it to begin this news cycle after a big holiday weekend. What do you think they did? Why did they do this?
Well, I think that. Well, I want to finish what I was first saying, but I will address that, Brian.
We're up against a break.
I just think that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, no. Just finish. I'm just trying to speed you up a little because of the time.
What Bongino is trying to do. I mean, he's not a guy like Tom Homan. Why did Tom Homan get a 20x increase in his budget? Because Tom Homan couldn't handle what was before him. It's not that he's a great guy. I love him, but you can't you can't make diamonds out of rocks. He needed more money. I mean, the Democrats loved that. They left him this gigantic mound, which he couldn't handle. So we got him more money. 45% of the FBI was working on immigration.
Yeah.
Tom Homan. So there's all these things going on, but Dan Bongino's job is to find the good men within the FBI to go out and teach these, the good men to fish.
All right.
Find the good men within the FBI.
All right, listen, we got to run for the break, but to be continued.
Do it for me. But
No. All right, now listen, I want to tell you guys, I could not believe this, Steve. Do you know I had a door-to-door salesman come to my house on the 4th of July? I couldn't believe it. I know. Can you believe it? The nerve. The nerve. And he went to every house in my development, I guess. I couldn't. Well, I was on to him. I was a little surprised. I wasn't expecting anybody at the house, but I got a notification that there was someone in front of my house. I looked and I could see it was a salesman, so I didn't answer the door. That's one of the great things about having this doorbell camera from Sloman's. You know, I don't open the door for anybody, but on the 4th of July, I don't expect a salesman or a delivery man to come to the door. If I didn't have the doorbell camera, I would have opened it up. Just would have opened the door. But the doorbell camera, I saw him on the camera. I'm like, forget about it. You know, there's no way. It takes a lot of nerve to do that, doesn't it? You can get a doorbell camera from Sloman's for free with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Sloman's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They're going to give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, and you'll get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call, toll-free, 833-283-5050, 833-283-5050. We'll be right back. All right, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute, Steve. Hold on. Okay, you there, Steve?
I'm here, but the callers are the ones.
Well, that guy was
that
talking
coming
low.
back.
I could hardly hear him myself, so don't take that as anything other than he was talking low. We're in a break, but I want to tell everybody about our new sponsor, our Medicare sponsor, Chapter. This is really exciting because, Chapter, if you're 65 years of age or older and you have Medicare, or you're turning 65 soon, they can help you no matter what state you're in. This is our first, national sponsor that, no matter what state you're in, no matter what, out of our 50 states, no matter what you're in, Chapter can help you with your Medicare. You're going to get a live person on the phone. And, this is really amazing because Chapter, because they're a national company, they can help you in whatever state you're in. They have access to the over 24,000 different Medicare policies there are. I didn't realize there were so many Medicare policies, but they have access to all of them. You'll get a live person on the phone. They'll answer all your questions. They'll make sure your doctor's covered, your specialists are covered. They'll make sure your medications are covered. And also, they're going to make sure that if you're paying for a supplement, that you're not paying too much, or that you even need that supplement. So I'm going to give you the number. It's completely free. You get a live person on the phone. They're going to answer all your questions, and it costs you nothing. Here's the number, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Give them a call, and if you missed the number, it's in the description of the program, 805-754-3033. All right, Chapter, give them a call. All right, hold on. I'm going to put you on hold again, Steve. Hold on. All right, you back with us, Steve?
I'm here.
Okay.
The callers are the ones I worry about.
Yeah, the call, Let's see. We'll be back in, let me see.
Are you there?
Yeah, we'll be back in about 90 seconds.
Oh, okay.
All right, stand by. All right. There's 2 openings on the board. The thing about the Epstein thing, Steve, even if the thing about it is, it's not what their findings are. It's the timing of it. Out of all these lawfare things, why did they spend so much time on that? Right? They haven't gone after any of these lawfare people that we know of. And they spend so much time on this, and then they drop it to start a whole news cycle with it. I don't see the need to do that.
I don't know. It's hard to understand, but I can tell you one thing. When I saw Bongino the last time on television, he looked really
Bad.
out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Scared.
to describe it.
Scared.
Other than that.
Scared. Terrified.
Yes.
All right, we'll be back in 15 seconds. Hold on. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane's here. We're starting the new week. And did you have a good 4th of July, Steve?
Yes, I did. It was great fun.
Yeah, I had a good time. You know, this was amazing. You know, Trump had a rally on Thursday, right, for the 4th of July on Thursday. He had it on the 3rd because they had that big party at the White House and the big, beautiful bill signing on the 4th. But what President Trump did was begin the one-year celebration of America's 250th birthday. And, you know, what we're seeing is really amazing. You know, every branch of the military has either met or surpassed their recruitment goals. It's the first time it's happened in years. And
military is doing great.
Oh, yeah. And what Trump is doing with a whole year of celebrating America's birthday is bringing back something that the liberals have really almost done away with, a sense of American pride. You know, and that's a good thing. All right, let's try a couple more calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Never Trumper Steve here in beautiful Palm City.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
You know, hi. You know, Brian, my predictions on your show have been pretty accurate. I'm going to make a new one. And it's not that Musk is going to be the problem for Trump and the Republicans. I mean, quite frankly, Trump doesn't run again. So I don't know. I don't think he cares that much about the impact on Republicans in the
I take
midterm.
issue with that. I don't think it's certain that he's not going to run again. I think he very well might run again.
Well,
he's got a great record to run on. Would you not agree with that?
Well, I do not agree with that. That's pretty obvious. But you don't
agree that Trump has a good record? I don't know what to say if you don't realize that.
No, I do not.
That's interesting. You know, Steve. Never Trumper Steve. Are you going to refuse to take the Trump tax cuts that were just made permanent in the big beautiful bill, or are you going to take zero deductions?
Well, I'm not in the class of people, the mega wealthy that.
No, it's middle. Those are middle. Those are middle class tax cuts. The Trump tax cuts.
I'm not in the wealthy class either, but I save with the Social Security waiving the tax.
Yeah, big deductions you're going to get on your Social Security.
Don't say waiving the tax.
A big deduction.
You're as wrong as Trump.
No, it's a big deduction.
You're as wrong.
Steve just got a
deduction, but it's
of
not
thousands of
it's
dollars.
Not that Social Security is not being taxed. That is a wrong statement.
No, it's a it's being wiped out by the massive tax deduction.
No.
You're not going to.
Depends on what their taxable income is.
Oh my goodness. Well, okay, we're not here to talk about accounting, but come on. Come on.
The amount, by the way, you weren't sure. The amount is $6,000, by the way.
That's a lot.
And double that.
That's a lot. That's a lot for people struggling on Social Security.
But you can't say taxes are being. There's no tax on Social
They're
Security.
being wiped out. They're being wiped out.
He promised that during.
And found a way to deliver it. And found a way to deliver it outside the box.
Oh, okay. By the way, the lower echelon ends up paying $600 more than they were paying, and the ultra rich end up getting.
Back to the Rachel Maddow talking. So, what inspired you to call today?
Let me ask you this question. Here's why the Republicans are scared of what they just voted on, because the $9 trillion in cuts on Medicaid, which you did not want to bring up, of course.
I brought it up.
That goes into effect after the midterm.
Hey, Steve. Listen, my namesake. You're wrong, baby. When you talk about the cuts are not real. Believe me, they are real. They're very real.
The Medicaid cuts of
They're
almost
not cuts in
$9 trillion.
They're not cuts.
You want to call it waste, fraud, and abuse.
They're putting in a work requirement, and they may
many states already have that
because they don't want to work. With Americans,
there are hospitals in the rural.
Work bums.
There are hospitals in the rural. Can I get a word in? Can I get a word in? Can I get a word in from either one of you?
I'm an inch from hanging up on you. An inch. Just let's take turns, and we'll exchange, civil discourse here. All right? Okay. What I'm trying to tell you is there's no cut in Medicare. What were you saying? Cut in Medicare?
Yeah,
There's
Medicaid.
no cut in
Medicaid.
They put in all they did was they put in a work requirement for able-bodied people. Now, this cut is not supposed to be for people who are sitting around the house all day watching television.
Yep.
And just don't feel like
And you believe that? Yeah.
Yes.
And you believe that's going to add up to $9 trillion?
Hey, Steve,
It is
listen
not.
to this, Steve. I'm talking to Steve Kane, not Never Trumper Steve. Listen to this. I looked this up for you, Steve, because you get your Social Security, you work. Listen to this. This is with the big beautiful bill. This is the new deduction you get. If you're a senior who's single, it's $6,000 a year. If you're a senior who's married, it's $12,000 a year. That's a new deduction.
Wow.
And by the way, if you're married, listen to this. If you're married, right, you get the new deduction of $12,000 a year, which is probably more than most are paying in the taxes. The standard deduction for seniors on Social Security that are married is $31,000. Plus, there's another deduction of $3,200. So you had a deduction of $3,200. Trump added another $12 to that $1,000. So your total deduction, Steve, each year, if you're married on Social Security, $46,700. That means senior citizens are going to get massive tax returns that they weren't getting before. That's awesome.
I don't know about your myth, but let me ask you just one question.
That's from the bill from the White House.
Let me ask, just one question, if I can get it in, because I haven't been able to get much in so far. Why is it that the cuts that are good for the wealthy, that goes into effect right away?
Oh,
but
please.
the cut in Medicaid goes into effect after the midterm and not now, because the Republicans
you asked a good question. You asked a good question. I'm going to answer it now. This boogeyman, the rich, the millionaire, no tax on tips and overtime go into effect right away, as does this deduction. The Social Security. The reason they're not
to 25,000.
Well, I'll take it. Most tip workers don't make over $100,000. Okay, now here's the thing about the Medicaid. You asked this question: why are the Medicaid cuts not immediate and are not until after the midterms? The reason that is they want to spend extra time making sure that they're taking Medicaid away from the right people, and it's a slow transition, so somebody wrongly doesn't have their benefits cut off that's in the country legally or is a U.S. citizen, and they don't get their health benefits. They're doing it slowly to be more responsible. That's since you asked.
I think you're bending yourself into a pretzel. You're bending yourself into a pretzel. They don't want to do it now because they won't get votes.
I got one more question for you, Steve, and after that we're going to move on. Give me just a direct answer.
Oh, please.
I want to understand. Why do you believe that if a man is able-bodied and able to work, do you think he should be able to qualify for Medicare even though he's sitting home all day watching television? Yes or no?
It's Medicaid, by the way, not Medicare. But as it relates to Medicaid, there are a lot of states that require that already.
Give me a yes or no.
The answer is yes. Yes, if they don't have other reasons why they qualify. The answer is yes.
So we agree.
There are not other reasons. They may be able-bodied, but they may be taking care
should
of an
illegals?
elderly person
Hey, let me
who's
ask
on
one
their
question, Steve. What about illegals? Should illegals get Medicaid? He's thinking.
No.
He's got to think. You had to think about that. You thought about that. It's like all right, take care. Appreciate the call. You know, Steve, on the 4th of July, I went to a 4th of July barbecue with some of our listeners that go on the MAGA cruise at one of their houses. Murphy, who goes on our cruises, he had a barbecue. He invited me. I went. There were a bunch of cruisers there. I had not seen these cruisers since our last cruise, which is in March. And I parked. I got out of the car. I'm walking into the house. Before anyone said hello to me, first thing I heard was, "Brian, you're wearing skinny jeans now. Look at you." You go, because they hadn't seen me since March, since I lost all this weight from Coastal Weight Loss Secrets help. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Listen, guys, call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. It works. I lost all this weight without any exercise, eating foods I would normally eat, and not taking any prescription medications like Ozempic. Here's the number, 561 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. And online, coastalweightlossecrets.com. We'll be right back. Steve, I'm going to put you on hold while I call Youngerman.
Okay, this is a spot where you
Okay,
gotta
hold
be
on.
careful.
Okay, hold on. Hey there, hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, we got 90 seconds. I'll put William on in a minute. That sounds like a pretty good deduction for Social Security. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It'll help.
I'll take it. I don't get Social Security, but, you know, pretty good. All right, we got about a minute.
Keep our fingers crossed.
All right, William, stand by. We have 30 seconds. We'll be back.
Okay.
All right, and it's our first gold and precious metals report of the week after our 4th of July weekend. We're going to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca. William Youngerman, how the metals starting off this new week?
So far, we're starting off a little bit lower on the metals. Again, gold down by the lower end of its trading range that we've seen back and forth for quite a while now. The markets on Friday, which were the world markets, closed gold up $10.70 at $3,336 the ounce. Silver was closed out the week at $36.86. This morning, we've seen gold trade in a range from $32.95 on the low to $33.44 on the high. And right now, gold's at $33.09. That's down about $25. Silver down 56 cents at $36.30 the ounce. Platinum down $36 at $1,356. And palladium down $32 at $1,103. So those who've been waiting on the sidelines, you can buy the metals at the lower end of the trading range this morning so far.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and also, here we are in the summertime, people traveling. Can you tell people about your international currency exchange?
Yes, we deal in over 60 different currencies, one of our departments, and that makes it possible for you to come in on many of the currencies we have in stock, like the euros and the British pounds and several others. And it's just simply you pay cash for cash, and you're well ready to go to wherever you're going. And then when you come back, if you've got leftovers, you can bring them back in, and we buy them back.
Yeah, you can turn them. Yeah, you can sell them back for exchange them for U.S. dollars or buy some gold and silver too, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's right. Listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. Give him a call. His number is 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1, Federal Highway, on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can find both his phone number and address on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care, take care. Wow, it sounds to me, Steve, that Trump in the big, beautiful bill gave seniors more than they would get than if it was no taxes, right? You got these massive deductions. And
I think it's a great deal.
oh yeah, and you know, for these people that don't want their, I mean, think about this, Steve. If you're a married senior, you just got a new $12,000 a year deduction on top of the existing deduction of $3,200. So that means you've got a $15,200 deduction plus the standard deduction of $31,500, which gives you total deductions of $46,700 for married seniors on Social Security. It sounds to me like senior citizens are going to be getting tax returns like nobody's business moving forward, thanks to the big, beautiful bill. I think that's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal.
Sounds promising.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry Never Trumper Steve doesn't want to take these deductions that he's going to take, but all right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Brian.
What's happening?
Well, you know what? These two stories are a little disconcerting, to say the least. And the timing after we had an incredible 4th of July weekend, especially the signing of the bill and the way it was rolled out and the whole thing, the B-2 flyovers and everything was magnificent. With Elon Musk, I'll say something. Now, no doubt about he is brilliant at privatizing the space program with SpaceX and bringing us a great car, the Tesla, and manufacturing a Neuralink. But that doesn't always carry over into another discipline like politics.
Mm-hmm.
Starting a third party, the American Party, I don't know what he's thinking. This is a huge undertaking.
He's not thinking. That's the problem.
He's
just
not
striking
thinking.
out blindly in rage. He's enraged, and he's striking out whoever he perceives as his enemy.
Well, his brilliance in the private sector doesn't extend, I think, to politics. That's a whole different ballgame. That's a ballgame that President Trump excels in big time. And he thinks he's just going to start this third party, maybe show up and hop around on a stage or something. A third party is a huge undertaking. I think, we got some ego involvement here and stuff like that. With the three, Bondi, Patel, and Bongino, she's saying there is no list that exists. There was a partial list I remember being published months and months ago when I think it was Telegram or something.
Yeah.
You know?
And she said she had the list on her desk, too, don't forget.
Yeah. I mean, what is going on? Do you think we forgot about that? People were waiting for this list to appear, indictments to come down, and the whole 9 yards, and now they're telling it doesn't exist. I think they're going to have a...
Well, I will tell you this. I've heard President Trump in the last couple of days praise Pam Bondi. He's always praising her.
Yes.
I haven't heard him praise Kash Patel or Bongino since they got the jobs.
No. They've been, let's face it, they've been disappointing with those press conferences.
Well, and this report was an FBI report, not an Attorney General report.
Yeah. Those three have really, unless there's something else going on, and this is just a diversion, a dog and pony show, and there's something bigger going behind the scenes that we don't know about as far as a tactic being employed.
Well, the timing of the story, too, is odd.
Oh, yeah. I mean, after the 4th of July week, like you say, you're starting a new news cycle, 4th of July week, where everyone has high energy, and then we come out with this?
Yeah.
I don't know. I still have some confidence in them. They're loyal MAGA guys. I think this may be just a dog and pony show, and there's something big playing on.
I hope you're right. You know how much I want to be wrong about this? I want to be so wrong about this.
Well, absolutely. I think there's a bigger sting operation going on too.
All right. Hey, listen, appreciate the call. Take care. All right.
Sure.
There's another thing too. You're not going to see this on Fox because they're not going to run this story. Okay. Maybe if they do, it'll be a mention because it involves Tucker Carlson, and they don't want to give. They don't want to give Tucker Carlson time on Fox. But this is available this morning, and I'll be watching it later today. Tucker Carlson had an exclusive interview with the president of Iran. And Tucker, did you hear about this, Steve?
No, I hear you.
Okay, but did you hear about Tucker's interview with the president of Iran?
No, you better tell me.
Okay, now again, I've not seen the interview yet. Tucker put out a preview describing the interview. Now, he did not go to Iran to interview him. It was done over computer and remotely, okay? So he didn't go totally Jane Fonda North Vietnamese on us here. But he did say it was a softball interview. He said he didn't ask him any hard questions because he would just lie to him. And I'm going to reserve full judgment until after I watch the full interview. But he basically said he gave him a softball interview. I mean, what's the point of that? You know, this is border, to me, interviewing the president of Iran in a softball interview is borderline Jane Fonda in North Vietnam. The only reason it's borderline is because he didn't go to Iran to do the interview and then take a PR tour of Iran and praise Iran. But the Iranians not only have been funding all the terrorism going on in the world for decades, they have these hit squads against the president going on, right? You know, and the Iranian president, the only reason he would do an interview with Tucker is publicity, PR, to make him look like a normal human guy. You know, so it's really troubling to me that Tucker would do a softball interview by his own description of the man whose government has hit squads against President Trump. I'm pretty upset with Tucker about it. Maybe he'll redeem himself when I see the interview later today. But you guys are going to have to go out of your way to see it, because Fox may cover it. If they do, I'd be surprised. But I don't know if they want to talk about Tucker Carlson getting an exclusive interview. It kind of makes them look bad, right? Maybe that he's interviewing the president of Iran and not them.
They feel it's not in their interest to promote Tucker. I think you're right on that.
Yeah, but I find the interview inappropriate. I really do. You know, and I'm not opposed to journalists being journalists, but to do a softball interview, and do you know, over the weekend, you know, the president was at Bedminster over the weekend. There were about 11 airspace violations over Bedminster over the 4th of July weekend. 11. I don't know what's going on.
Sounds like it's becoming a regular occurrence.
Or a testing of security. I don't know. All right, let's try another call or two before we say goodbye today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. Bill from Boynton Beach.
Hey, Bill.
What's up?
Good morning, Steve. Well, to be blunt,
here we go.
Brian, you make your listeners stupider by the day. And I could go on literally, and believe me, I could do this for 3 hours. But just because it's so late, you've repeatedly said Trump is not going to show up with any kind of relationship with Epstein. Several years ago, he had admitted that he'd caught a ride with Epstein from,
he threw him at Mar-a-Lago.
That was before Epstein's dark secrets were revealed to the public.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. When Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, that was the end of the relationship. But prior to that, and you can go online, do an easy search, he rode with Epstein 7 times at a minimum.
But he didn't know, hold on a second, but he didn't know what Epstein was all about. No one did then. It was his secret life.
Well, one of the reasons that...
You left that out.
I didn't leave that out. I just said, prior to Mar-a-Lago being a rejection...
As soon as he found out about what Epstein was about, he cut ties and kicked him out.
You're interrupting me, and you're making your audience even more stupid.
Oh, listen to this. He's smarter than the audience, Steve.
Well, no. Well, let me see. I'm smarter than Ghetto Jay from Jersey. I'm much smarter than Renee with 2 E's.
Oh, you think you're smarter than black people too? Well, you're doing good.
Well, let me finish.
You're a racist, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
I'm much smarter than Greg too, who I believe is white. Greg, I went to school for seven.
Listen, you're eating out the clock. You know, as you're going through your narcissistic description of your brain power.
Once you become threatened, you deflect. That is a tactic you've used ever since I began listening to you. Okay. Greg too is not black. He went to school for...
How do you know he's not black?
Excuse me?
You know him? How do you know he's not black?
Yeah, actually, I know who he is. He's not black.
Oh, you're friends with him? You know him personally? Oh my goodness.
I didn't say I was friends with him. But again, you're deflecting. You won't let me finish. Greg went to school for 7 years of higher education just so he could come on and become an idiot in conversation with you. There's a very old, in fact, you should know it, and you probably do, but pigs love it when you get down in the mud with them, because after a while, you can't tell.
Listen, we've got less than a minute left. Do you have some content, or you want to tell people how smart you are for that minute?
What would you like to know? You're constant.
You called us. You called us. We didn't call you.
Your constant harangue of Pam Bondi, Patel, and Bongino all derived from your terrible disappointment
Yes.
that you didn't get Gino's job.
Oh, yes, that's what it is. That's what it is.
I've already been told that you were bombarded with people saying, "Hey, Bongino's leaving. You should be his replacement."
Yes.
Well, as I told you a while ago, I spoke with an iHeart executive several months back. Basically, he said he will never be syndicated.
Okay.
Because he is
Well, I have listeners nationwide now. I'm already. We're out of time for the day, but we already have a national audience. Steve, I think we're syndicated already. I've been getting calls from all over America today. Oh my goodness, they're talking about me in the executive suites, in the C suites. We're out of time. It's Monday, and we've kicked the week off pretty well here. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve's been here. I'm Brian. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m. Oh my goodness, guys. Oh, welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. And I want to tell you, oh my goodness, they're having executives and C-suites are having discussions about me. I'm pretty more well known than I thought. Listen, I want to let you guys know something. I did a big format change with my podcast. I know many of you already know this, but I did a big format change starting over the weekend. The Brian Craig Show podcast, which is a show I do separate from the Steve Kane Show, is available on all podcast platforms, and it has been for many years. But what I started doing over the weekend, a big format change, I'm doing the podcast live here on YouTube, taking live calls. So if you're subscribed, you got the notification bell clicked, you'll get a notification when I go live on my podcast. And I've already done 2 episodes over the weekend of my podcast with live calls. So it's a big format change. I've never taken calls on the podcast before. And I'm enjoying it, and it's working out pretty well. So make sure you subscribe, click that notification bell, and check out the new format of the Brian Craig Show podcast with live calls. All right? Thanks, everybody. Again, I will see you later. All right? Take care. Thanks for watching. This is where MAGA comes to talk.